Can everyone see
Okay,
it?
so
Okay.
yeah, this is the presentation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Can we start with the project?
Yeah. Oh, the code itself.
Yeah, yeah. Can you can just show me the project and you can demonstrate me how it works.
Yeah. The thing is, yeah. Okay. So let me get that pulled up. Sorry. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this is it so far. So what it is you essentially there are two modules as of right now. There's the discovery module and the feasibility module. The discovery
Okay.
module basically just lets you input a natural language prompt into the terminal. So it might be buggy right now, so it might not run perfectly right now. Yeah. So okay. So there's still some. There's a working version. I can send just a Loom video of it working in a second right after this. But essentially, you use terminal. You give it a natural language prompt, like let's say, give me a chiral molecule used in agriculture, and it'll find that molecule. And then the second module which we worked on was the feasibility, which went through that exact module and compared it to existing metabolic routes and just looked at the feasibility of it. So if it's actually realistic to make this module. And I go over this in the presentation as well.
Okay. So what is the project about? I don't get it.
Yeah, so let me present it. So essentially, I'm super into all things biology, and I've spent the last year
Just
talking. Yeah,
Alexei, sorry for interrupting you.
yeah.
Can you remove that meat from the
Oh yeah, sorry.
presentation? Yeah, thanks.
Is that better?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So let
Get
me
it.
explain the project a bit more. So I've spent the last year really talking to people involved in the synthetic biology industry, people making things with biology and biomanufacturing. And the big thing that I kept hearing is how chemistry just completely outcompetes biology in terms of making complicated molecules, in terms of cost, in terms of scale. And that honestly bugged me because in theory, biology should have the edge. Biology is really good at making things. Most of the things around us, most of the organic matter in the world is made by biology. And so I started asking, what would it take to help biology win at this game? And that's why I made ChiralAI. So here's the core issue, right? Chiral molecules are a type of molecule that are like your left and right hands. So they have mirror images of each other, but they're not superimposable. So they're not identical. You can never overlap your hands, but there's always a left and a right configuration. So in medicine and agriculture and materials, you almost always need just one specific hand. But traditional chemistry, like the way we make most chemicals and materials now, usually gives you both, a mixture of both. So, and making the wrong one can waste resources, pollute, or even do real harm. Like in a lot of drugs, you only want one to do the intended purpose, and the other one does a lot of harmful side effects. And it's very, very hard to control this with chemistry, and people spend a ton of money and infrastructure to try to control it. So, right, an example of this is thalidomide, where one form help people sleep better, and the other one causes birth defects. But it's also about how effective they are, right? Like molecules have to fit their biological targets perfectly, like a key in a lock. And the market is exploding for this because of drug discovery and all of these new pharmacological pipelines. And so this is getting more and more critical, as you can see in the graph. So here's where biology should theoretically shine, right? Living systems are basically already experts in chirality because enzymes, microbes, and all of your cells, they already make the right hand every time. They always pick one or the other. They don't make a mix. And even better, they do it all with renewable ingredients and way less waste, right? It's optimized by years and years of evolution. And the problem is most of these pathways are still black boxes to us. Like we know biology has the potential, but we don't have the tools to actually use it at scale yet. So this is where the reality is. Most of these routes, these biosynthetic routes in nature are totally unexplored. And even when we think we know a pathway, the results are really unpredictable most of the time. So you could spend years engineering a yeast strain only to find out biology was never going to make that molecule in the first place. And companies actually burn millions just flying blind, just with that trial and error cycle. And a lot of promising ideas never get off the ground. So that's really what this role is trying to get at. And the idea is simple, right? Let's use AI and everything we know about biology through massive databases to actually guide this discovery. So you type a plain English query, let's say, find a biodegradable alternative to polyester, and ChiralAI translates that into concrete suggestions, actual molecules, and checks if biology can make them. It gives you a realistic production plan by the end. So it's almost like having a GPS for metabolic engineering, for making things with biology, instead of hoping you stumble upon the right molecule by luck. So the system has four main pieces: the discovery engine, feasibility, optimization, and then real-world validation down the line. And for now, the first two are what's actually live, thanks to this program. So the discovery engine takes your needs and suggests chiral targets and pathways. And then the feasibility filter kicks in, which predicts whether biology can actually make your target molecule in your chosen host. Right now, we're just doing that with E. coli and yeast, but down the line, we'll have a ton of other hosts. And if not, if it's not feasible, it'll tell you what's in the way. So I'll dive deep into that second piece because that's what we focused on in this program. So the feasibility filter is kind of like the reality check for synthetic biology. You give it a molecule and a host, like we were saying, and it analyzes the chemical properties and cross-references it with known known biological pathways. So in a database, it checks if an enzyme already works on that molecule and gives you the answer. And it even applies biological rules like thermodynamics to see if it's favorable and if it would actually happen in reality. It tells you if production is even possible, where the gaps are, and what steps you would need to be engineered or invented. And so this stops people, like I was saying before, from spending months or years chasing dead ends, chasing molecules that would never work, and lets you focus resources on what's actually feasible. So yeah, so why does any of this matter? This type of prediction could help pharma or any companies working with chiral molecules develop cleaner and safer, in the case of pharma, would be drugs, by starting with molecules biology can actually make. So for agriculture, it would mean pesticides and fertilizers that actually break down instead of polluting groundwater. And for materials, it's about unlocking new, greener plastics and chemicals. And all of this is really going to get incentivized with regulation as governments ramp up. And so the point isn't to just hype up biology for the sake of it. It's to give researchers the tools to finally let biology compete on its own terms, right? Biology should be better at making these things. We just don't have the money and the tools invested. So yeah, thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, great. So first thing, that the presentation was really good. When you were talking about biology, it was pretty clear that you are really interested in it, and you have a lot of knowledge about biology. So okay, is it that your project is still on progress, like it's not complete yet?
Sorry, I stopped sharing and I can run.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's still the case. We got a working version of the feasibility filter during this, but it's definitely all still logic based more. Like, for example, one of the hard coded things is that if it doesn't find a enzyme that works with the molecule, it'll just subtract a number from the feasibility score it gives you. And down the line, I need to make this obviously much more robust and ML based.
Okay. So where do you get the idea about this project?
Yeah, like I said, I was taking a class in my school called Advanced Topics in Modern Chemistry, and one of the big things we were talking about is this principle of chirality because it's really interesting on a mechanism scale and how they interact with enzymes, etc. And this was also I'm in a program called TKS, which really emphasizes outreach and just learning from experts in the field. So I had almost twice a week a meeting with someone in biomanufacturing because that's where I thought I was really interested in. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And they kept talking about just the biggest drawback, because that's something I would always ask about, like, what's the biggest problem with your field, is that chemistry is cheaper. Chemistry is better at scaling. It's just more economic. And so learning in my chemistry class and then hearing these experts talk about these problems, I'm like, wait, biology should actually be better at making this, right? We need to give biology the opportunity to fulfill its potential.
Great. So, where did you get the interest in biology? Is it that there were some instances that you faced?
I don't think it's necessarily a concrete moment. I just think not biology itself, but the idea of engineering biology, because I think it's so amazing to start with a system that already works, like a bacteria already works. And then we are the ones that are humbled by it because we need to understand it and reverse engineer. Every time we're doing anything, we're reverse engineering it because we're starting with a system that works and we're breaking it down to see what we can intervene with. And so I think that's
Okay.
just really interesting to me. It's not necessarily a moment or yeah.
First thing. Okay. So, I've taken a lot of interviews till now, and this is the most interesting interview that I am taking. And the way you talk about biology, it just feels really good that you are so much interested in it. And I hope you get to build something really big in biology. So, do you have any future plans with this project or some other project?
Yeah, definitely. I've gotten a few people in chem informatics and bioinformatics, some PhD students who want to collaborate and who want to build it out. A lot of people want to monetize it, but I definitely want to keep it open source for the broader community. I want to see the scale of making things with biology be so much smaller. Like you put something into this engine, it gives you a protocol, and you see, and you just make it happen in a small flask and just have that iterate over a week or two, not years and years and billions of dollars down the drain. So that's my long
Okay,
term vision.
okay, great. Um, so it was great. Are you like planning to participate in some hackathon, or do you think you will be confident while taking part in some hackathons or some other competitions?
Yeah, so I definitely have done hackathons on the wet lab side, on the biology side. Um, but honestly, my biggest roadblock is my code ability, as you know very
Yeah.
well. Because even though we have these amazing tools like ChatGPT at our disposal, you still need to have that fluency. You still need to be able to understand what it's giving you, iterate on it. Um, and having you there during this process was super super helpful because I would run into a bug that I would spend an hour debugging and you would just instantly know, and that's what's really keeping me from the hackathon route.
Okay, so I was talking to the mentors and instructors before this interview, and we were talking about you. They said that you were facing issues with codes and coding, and but they also said that you have a lot of knowledge about AI and ML. So, what's your perspective about this?
Yeah, I mean, again, I thanks to this program, I really started seeing it conceptually and really started seeing the concrete value. But it's just there's a barrier to entry from understanding it and appreciating it and just getting it down in the form of code and getting it to work, right? Um, and it's just there's kind of like the way I think about it is you would never write a book in a language you don't know, right? You would never create something in a format that you fundamentally don't understand, right? And for me, that's code. For me, and I need to figure out the highest priority things to learn because, of course, I'm not going to memorize Python syntax, right? That's like what ChatGPT can do. But I think I need to really learn just like the system architecture and the higher level things that can guide these LLMs.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So, are you planning to learn coding further?
definitely, definitely, because I think I need this technical foundation to be able to build this.
Okay. So, I think, do you know about the advanced AI ML program that BetterMind Labs offers?
I think the person who referred it to me mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it would be worth checking it out. If you want, you can. I don't have much information about it though. But if you want, I can get you connected with the team and you can have a chit chat with them. You can discuss about it. So if you want, I can do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
okay. So we'll go ahead with the interview. Um, do you plan on building some other projects in some other fields, maybe
AI based or in general?
AI based?
AI based? Yeah, this is definitely the most AI heavy thing I've done. I've done a lot that's just purely wet lab and purely biology. I just spent a week at a tech village here in SF doing a wet lab hackathon. But in AI, it's just again this code is really the barrier to entry because I'm seeing. So I started this project in January, and I've been working on it pretty consistently. And in all fairness, this is not much progress. Like anyone with code who also deeply understood the concepts would have gotten much further than me. So that's what's really been keeping me from building an AI because as amazing as I find it and as much as I see the potential, I just have trouble getting it concrete.
Okay, but I think if you will practice it, you can go ahead with it. So, is it that you don't want to continue with AI, or is there some other reasons?
No, I do. I just for me the level of technical knowledge you need to have and the background to like be super fluent with it just seems a bit insurmountable. And maybe that's just not the case. Maybe I can learn this a lot quickly than I'm making it out to be, which I think is what you're implying. Um, but yeah, that's it.
No, I'm not trying to imply anything. I was just trying to know you and know more about you. So I just want to know that are you interested in learning AI more, or is it that you want to try some other things?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely am gonna keep going down the route of AI.
Okay, great. So, do you think you will be confident while making some other projects related to AI or anything?
As of now, if I base it on the principles that I know and understand, like in the case of this project where it's mostly biological, yes. But if it's super technical, which is kind of the route that AI is going now, like you hear a lot about MCP and like mechanistic interpretability and just this really high PhD level work, then no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So, do you think the learnings that that BetterMind Labs program gave you were those aligned with your interests or whatever you wanted to learn? Were
Definitely.
they relevant to you? Okay.
Definitely. Definitely. And also just the general understanding. It's really great to be able to see something online, like your Gmail inbox categorizing emails as spam or not, and just be able to explain like, oh, that's a classifier. And it's that part has been super satisfying. But um, the one thing is that the technical homework like between sessions, it was a Jupyter homework. It was a Jupyter notebook. It was well done, but it was already set up so that it would work. Like I totally get that's education, but in like an hour into debugging this project, like that didn't come really into handy because like I wasn't that oriented with like a virtual environment.
Okay. So, do you think